reckon here is better? Okay, alright. But that was nice and cool there. There was nice air conditioning there. Yeah.
So? Oh, thank you very much. You too. I like it.
So your name again was that?
My name is Peter Maple.
Peter Maple, yes.
And I'm one of the producers
Yes.
in the film. Yeah.
So how did you get involved with this? And
Well, Alex and I, we've known each other for around 20 years now, and we've worked on numerous projects across stage and screen. When he came to me with the idea for this one, I thought it was fantastic, and I wanted to jump on board. I have two young children myself. My son, he's just gone into high school, so he's reached that age where he's got his first phone himself. My wife and I have been concerned about that sort of creeping into our lives. We're aware of our own usage of phones and how it can overtake things. So I thought this was a good way to sort of start investigating, what's happening out there for everyone, because we all have these things in our pockets, and it kind of controls our lives. And the whole point was to sort of see if we can find a way to consciously use this technology rather than having it control us.
well said.
Yeah.
Well said. Now, you mentioned something earlier. I'm not a parent myself, but I would be terrified if I was a parent. How do you navigate and manage technology with children? It can be such a dangerous world through technology in more ways than one.
Absolutely.
Not only through predators getting through to your children, but also overusage, addiction, like all these things. How's it been for you? Like, it must be hard.
It's very difficult. It's not a one-off solution. Actually, I don't even think there is a solution. It's more like a dealing with management of it. The schooling systems, they do offer education, but on a very sort of basic level. My daughter's in primary, and my son, as I mentioned, is in high school. So they do get a small education there in the schooling system. But realistically, I think a big part of it for children is the parents educating themselves as to how to deal with it, and then sort of regular discussions with their children, sit-downs and putting in guidelines and rules, and sticking to them as well is a really big point. But it's not a one-off conversation. It just needs to be ongoing, checking in all the time, because not only is the technology always changing, but the child's always changing as well, and how they use the technology is changing. It's a really, it's never just a like quick fix solution. But it is so much a part of our lives now, and the big thing is just being conscious of that, and finding what works for our particular family, our model, whatever that may be, and best protecting them, but also still allowing them to have the outlet of using it, and connecting with their friends, having fun, whatever it may be.
Yeah, and I think this film, Disconnect Me, is so important in starting conversations,
Absolutely.
starting to look at our own behaviours if we haven't already.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. Like, I thought I was fairly, I felt like I managed my usage of phones and social media pretty well, but I've even, since working on the project, been conscious that I use it more than I was realizing, and I'm having to pull back on it more, and it does affect our relationships. I noticed that my wife and I, when we were watching rough drafts of the film together, we both sort of looked at each other and like, wow, we do sort of ignore each other and put preference over social media or technology too many times than we should. So it is, again, it goes back to that whole thing of just checking in, seeing what you're doing as well. And that's a big part of it, as you say, not only for adults, with the kids, not only directly educating them, but we're modeling things for them as well. So as we know, children learn from mimicry and watching. So being conscious to show them, well, put the phone aside. It's not always about that. Let's engage directly with each other.
That's exactly right. 90% behaviour, I think, with children.
Yes.
They learn from that.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, on another note, I know there was a ton of footage, and you guys had to cut a lot.
Yep.
Does this mean there is a Disconnect Me 2
Well,
sequel?
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Look, there were definitely, you could have little short films about it, I'd say. But there was an extremely large amount of footage, and we had to break it down and cut it down to something. We wanted to keep it entertaining, was the big thing. We wanted to open people's minds and get them a bit conscious, but we didn't want to beat them over the head with a message and say, you have to do this. It's more just a starting point to go, what am I doing? But in answer to the question, is there a sequel? We do have ideas for something in the future. Yeah, and it wouldn't necessarily be involving the footage, the leftover footage. It would be somehow sort of expanding what is already there.
Okay, that sounds like really interesting because already this movie, we haven't even seen it,
Yeah.
and it's already creating so much hype, so much talk,
Yeah.
and conversation.
Yeah.
So I'm excited already.
So am
I haven't
I.
seen it, yeah. So
Yeah, well,
yeah,
we've had a few screenings at Cinefest Oz, the festival there. We got to do it 2 times with Q&As, and audiences were really engaged and just wanted to know more and learn more and give their own opinions and their own experiences over. So we definitely see that it is something that's prevalent in all our lives, and there is a way to sort of unpack all this but do it in an entertaining way. So there are different angles we can take with similar themes.
Yeah. Well, I'm very excited to see what's on tonight. And,
Yeah.
lovely chatting with you.
You too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I'm excited to see the film, basically.
Yeah,
so,
great.
Yeah.
Please tell me what you think afterwards.
I will.
I'd love to hear.
And-
yeah, maybe text me or do it on social media. No.
Okay.
Face to face would be lovely.
Yes, we like that. All right, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.